Aujourd'hui, je vais parler de what exactly is the plan for the next half of my life, really. Of course, it's not actually just about me, so what I'll do today is speculate on the kind of endeavors that in my book is worth, pursuing given the luxury of time. Hey, Zampak here. So I'm brought to my topic this week because my wifey recently wanted to talk about something. I mean, you know how that goes. Wifey says she wants to talk, and I'm like, uh-oh, what did I do wrong? Unknowingly, hopefully. Now, that doesn't actually happen much in this household, but I do enjoy it when my wifey's getting serious about a topic. And basically all she brought up was she's been thinking harder about what she wants in terms of having a fulfilling life. This is very reasonable now that she has had at least a couple of years out of the workplace. Now, I've been at this stage in life a handful of years longer, but to be honest, I think mentality-wise, we're at about the same stage, mostly because when I first retired, there were those weird, COVID restricted years, right? I mean, those years has to count for less because one was not free to really do whatever they wanted during that period. But who am I kidding? The real difference between wifey and I is that I think she may be a bit more ambitious than me. So I figured she did mention a few possibilities in terms of what she wants to do. And of course, I have stewed on this question, obviously for even longer. So let's just categorize some options and talk about what's relevant for ourselves. I mean, I know my audience for this rant of a topic is going to be even smaller than my usual audience. I mean, this one's really for the daydreamers or already retired early retirees. So what type of activities would I think is worthwhile doing, and how might those contribute to long-term happiness? Okay, gonna get into it. Anyway, if you're intrigued by what I might say, please subscribe, comment, share, all that social media buzzwords, or whatever, because I'm rich enough for me, and I will be great regardless. First point, formal education of one type or another. So let's start off with what my wifey's leaning towards, right? This is what she mentioned. I think this type of activity is perfect for a straight A student like her, actually. I think she's just especially suited for formal instructions, probably more so than me. I mean, I've never missed having homework less, but I think my wifey could really thrive in a situation like that, right? As I've gotten older, though, I do think that I'm starting to appreciate formal education a little bit more than when I was a kid. The reality is that if you go to regular school, all the challenge you'll face is mostly laid out in front of you in a recognizable fashion. In a way, it is kind of like playing an RPG in a video game, right? They tell you what you have to do to succeed in your quest. How smooth is that? Of course, the hard part is that unlike in a video game, regular schooling's progress require all that, actual mental work. But on the positive side, regular schooling probably does gain us the most, socially recognizable type of skills. But let's be clear, for us early retirees, the skills gained are basically all for vanity, right? Wifey said maybe she'll consider a master in computer science, except she would just be doing that so to say that she could. It's not like she's looking to get a job in that field again. Oh, and let's not undersell the social aspect of formal schooling as well, right? I think that's the bigger part of the appeal for my wifey. It would be simply nice, right? To be surrounded by other people who are at least mildly interested, if not passionate, about the same subject in an organized way. Now, I wouldn't want this, but for my wifey, I told her, go for it. Now, second group of activities, I'm going to call it self-improvement. And in this group, I'm simply talking about the type of education that's at most one-off classes, or you could things that you could study on your own, right? Even if it's at a much slower rate, right? My personal example would be my personal journey into learning how to swim or do a pull-up. Okay, that's two exercise-related things. Yes. I mention these because I honestly do not want to embarrass myself, at a gym at any point in my life anymore. I don't need that, don't want it. But hey, maybe my mild interest in, drawing stuff, call it my repressed artistic creative side, okay, sure, I could go to art school, but again, I don't need the formal recognition. Not that I think that art school certificates really do much in terms of professional work, right? But it doesn't matter, I'm much less driven than having society recognize that I know how to do a particular thing, right? For me, knowing a thing and how to accomplish something is more than reward enough, right? By the way, in this group, I am including things that I can learn, let's say, at a local community college, right? Because I know wifey doesn't think those classes are the same as formal education, like going to get a master's or a PhD, okay? I kind of think that distinction is kind of funny. I mean, I'd love to learn how to be a more handy guy around the house, and frankly, working with power tools is something that I would rather have, an instructor tell me how to do rather than just learn on the internet. But hey, I'm okay with my very slow learning rate because to me, this is all just icing on the cake, right? I have made it through my entire game of life so far without those skills. So the additional skills would just be for New Game Plus, right? Final category, things that I basically count as pure entertainment. This is where I group activities that I actually spend the most time on right now, such as video games or pickleball. I think this group is also where wifey and I have a different philosophical opinion on, right? For me, I don't mind that the majority of my time is spent on it because I think it's my reward for finishing the game of life as a grind super early. But wifey thinks doing stuff like that isn't maybe productive? I mean, I don't mind having a differing opinion so long as she doesn't decide someday that what I'm doing is just not good enough, I guess. So we shall see how that pans out in the long run, okay? But my argument as to why this group of activity is totally worth it is it's simple, right? We don't actually judge actual senior retirees for doing things in this group. I'm pretty sure prior to video games existing, old retired dudes simply went fishing, okay? I mean, as a sort of solitary entertainment option, right? And so why is it okay for old people to do things that apparently is not socially productive but bring you straight up happiness, right? I have not heard a good reason yet, so I'm sticking to my guns here, right? Maybe it's because I think it feels indulgent while the rest of our age group peers are still plugging away at the office. Oh wait, I don't really actually care about the general opinion of society, right? I don't take that into account when making decisions in my own life. Whew, problem for myself solved. In conclusion, right, I say do whatever we want in retirement. I know I'm in an extremely lucky place where even if my wifey said, she wants to get another degree or two that would result in no gain, but in fact cost money, I could say, sure, let's go for it. But here's my secret though, if my wifey wants to get a real degree that costs a bunch of money, I'll just stick with self-improvement for myself because that option is just way cheaper. And what am I still saving money for, you ask? Well, of course, for that international vineyard someday. And that goes straight into category 3 of pure entertainment, doesn't it? Because I don't know how else to categorize boozing and schmoozing. Okay, am I off my rockers? Feel free to yell at me below. Otherwise, cheers. A la prochaine.